Greetings, comic book friends. I recently went out of town, which of course means I visit new shops. This last week and a half or so, as of the recording of this, I don't know when this is going to go up, but I visited the Myrtle Beach area, which I've been to before. But at the time, I'm trying to think what was going on at the time. I mean, I was collecting comics at the time. I just didn't get around. I was with other people, and it just didn't happen for me to go to comic book shops. But this time I did, and I think I'm really happy with what came of it. I ended up visiting a total of, I think it was 5 places, and bought stuff from 3 of them. It was quite a bit. It definitely put my luggage over what was supposed to be the weight limit. That's for sure. Paper's heavy. Paper is heavy. So I'll just go over what we got here. So one store, this was House of Heroes in I don't remember, like Myrtle Beach is like, there's a lot of places. Like you have Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach, Conway, all kinds of places. I don't remember exactly where each one was, but there's House of Heroes, and you know when I like to go and like talk with the people that work there and the owners if they're there, just to kind of get a feel of what their market is like there and what things are going on. And I've never had a problem with this. Usually they love talking about it, and what's going on, and I really enjoy getting that sort of that perspective. This particular owner, I think Sean was his name, wasn't much of a comic shop anymore. He started leaning more towards toys and collectibles. What it sounded like is he was bigger into comics, and he doesn't do new comics anymore. He just kind of has the comics that he still has from when he was a comic shop, but as far as bringing stuff in, it was more toys. He sounded like he had a really great collection prior to COVID, but had to sell a lot of his personal stuff to keep things afloat, and which is obviously too bad. But he's been finding more success with toys. He didn't have any toys that I was looking for. There are some toys that I do collect, but he didn't have what I was looking for. What he did have, though, he had one thing that I was looking for. He had an Amazing Spider-Man number 138. I needed a replacement for mine as I was reading it, like reading my actual physical copy. I noticed that the Marvel value stamp was missing. It's not a particularly important issue, you know. It's a Bronze Age. It is the first appearance of the Mind Worm. Who cares? But you know, even these Bronze Age issues, which used to be $3-4, are a lot more now. So he got it priced at $30. I ended up paying him, I think, $25 for it, which is good. It's all everything that I bought at these 3 shops, I paid for in cash, which, if you're ever going in and buying stuff, especially if you get to talk to like someone in charge of the owner, being like, hey, what can you do for me? I can pay in cash. They're more willing to work with you. So I got some pretty good deals, mostly because like, I'll pay in cash. Even if that meant I had to go to an ATM and pay an ATM fee to get that cash, it was still worth it for me to do that and pay in cash for what they were willing to work with. So just to keep in mind, if you're wanting to do some wheeling and dealing, cash is king. Cash will always be king. And sometimes it's worth that $3 ATM fee. Let's see. So obviously I'm putting together Daredevil. So my main thing was to look for Daredevils. So let's not do that yet. Another thing that I like, as you know, are sets. And there was one shop, Power Comics, that had a lot of sets. There was an interesting shop. They had a lot of slabs. They almost had like as many, space wise, like physical space wise, taken up by boxes of slabs as they did with raw comics. There were toys and statues and things like that. It was still mainly a comic shop, but they slabbed a lot of stuff, like stuff that probably I normally wouldn't slab, but that's what they did. The only complaint I had about that store is that their back issues weren't fully alphabetized. They were like all the A's were together, all the B's were together, but within that they weren't alphabetized. So when I was looking for Daredevil books, I had to look through all of the D's to make sure that I got them. And sure enough, like there were multiple pockets in all over the place. So that was kind of a pain. And also I would say, considering how small their raw backstock was, not that it would be inconsequential, but you could do it. You could go ahead and alphabetize it and then just keep it up. Right? But that's not what they did. But I digress. They had a lot of sets, and I like sets. I like buying here's just the whole thing. And they had some fun, what I thought looked like some fun ones for reasonable prices. So I have a DC 4-issue miniseries, The Weird. It's Jim Starlin and Bernie Wrightson. I never heard of it, but with that team up, I'm in, and it was $5 for all 4 issues. They're not worth anything, right? But I mean, it's less than cover price, and it came out in 1988, so I mean that's good, right? So I'm excited to read that. But again, Starlin and Wrightson, that's awesome. Let's see, what was this? Oh, it's a 3-issue prestige format, Black Orchid, DC. But it's by Neil Gaiman. What was it? $10? Sure. $10 for 3 prestige format books, which is by Neil Gaiman, which is sure to be great. Done. Another set of prestige format books. DC. These are all DC, actually. It's kind of strange. The Golden Age by James Robinson. Again, another great creator. Presumably, I mean, I haven't even opened these yet. Presumably just stories from Golden Age heroes. I love that, old even if it's in modern times, the book is in modern times, but looking back and stories about those Golden Age characters, great. I think that's super fun. This one, and I have the least amount of idea on, actually, but Enigma. It's an 8-issue Vertigo series. It was $8, a buck an issue. Yeah, all right. We'll see what it's about. Peter Milligan. I like Peter Milligan. So again, if it wasn't for the authors of these, I probably would not have picked them up. But the combination of the author and the prices on them, it seems like it was well worth those costs for the amount of entertainment I'd get out of reading them. Is there any value there? No, absolutely not. That's why they are bundled like this and priced cheap. Are they going to be fun to read? I'm certain that they are, and that's why I got them. It looked like they were a lot of fun to read. I did pick up another run, a little bit bigger one, not huge. I am really excited about this though. It's the same place, Power Comics. They had the full 18-issue run of Marvel Star Trek, and this is a high grade run. There's some in here where I can see there's like a spine tick, but for the most part, this is a super high grade run. Now, do I need a high grade run of Marvel Star Trek? No. Do I want the run of Marvel Star Trek? Yes. Do I need high grade? No. Was it priced that it was high grade? Yeah. But just to have it there, all in one place, cut me a bit of a deal because I paid in cash. I like supporting different stores. All right, we'll do it. It's nice to have a high grade run. They come in Mylars, which itself is good. But mostly I'm excited to read it. And looking at it as a high grade run, it's beautiful. It's beautiful just to have it all high grade. Maybe slab worthy on 1 and number 18, I think, are the only ones that are really worth anything at all. Because I think at the point of 18 it was lower print run, but it is definitely a beautiful set. So all those sets I got at Power. Then all I have left is the Daredevil stuff. I got these from a mix from Power, and actually the first place I went was Coastal Comics. And I don't remember which I got where, but everything was pretty reasonably priced, and especially so after talking with him and getting a deal. So I ended up getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 Daredevil books to put towards the run. We'll go from lowest to highest, even though the best one's the lowest. Number 16. This book, this one I did want. I didn't need it at a high grade, but I wanted it in a really decent grade. It's featuring Spider-Man, and it is the first time John Romita drew Spider-Man. So it is, as far as the meta of comic history goes, it is a very important issue. John Romita drawing Spider-Man, and it's a beautiful looking copy. This I probably will go ahead and get graded. Just aside from it being what it is, that's just a great cover. So I very well may clean and press that and send it in for grading. Another lower number one, just because that's what he had. Number 22. Nothing really significant, but fairly low number. He worked with me really, really well on what I got from him, really well, because I paid in cash. He actually had some other Daredevils, some other lower Daredevils, in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, but they just weren't in the kind of shape I was looking for. Not that I need really, really high grade stuff, obviously, but it was too beat up for what I'd want for some of those issues. So I passed on those. Everything past that is modern. Again, nothing super huge. Just stuff that I wasn't able to find locally or in conventions I've been to so far. So we have a 260. Looks like we got Typhoid Mary there. 274. 275, 276, 358. Getting these 300s is kind of tough to get. 368, Omega Red. Seems like a weird person for Daredevil to fight. 372, Ghost Rider. 373, looks like Death there in the background. We'll see. 374, featuring that guy. 378. I'm not sure who that's supposed to be. Kind of looks like Tarantula, but colors are wrong. This was a pretty important one to get. So moving on to Volume 2, number 1 of Volume 2. I needed number 1 of Volume 2. So that was one that was sorely missing in my collection. Number 4, 16, 31, 32, 34, great cover, and 63. So a good solid chunk of the Daredevil run there for sure. It's we're not that far away to be honest, because I have some other Daredevil books en route to me. We're not like a handful away, but we're for how long ago I started putting it together, like in earnest started putting it together. We've made some moves. But yeah, I love checking out other stores when I go places. There was someplace else that someone told me about that I should check out, but it was a little far away. It was like an hour and a half drive away, so I didn't go. I just couldn't fit it in. It was Galactic Comics, which I think was actually in North Carolina, I think. But he said it might be second only to Mile High as far as size. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I didn't go, but I'm likely to visit there again in a couple months. So at that point, I might go ahead and make that trip and drive there and see what they have. We'll see. But I'm really happy with the stuff that I got from the 3 stores that I ended up buying from. There's 2 others that I visited that just didn't have anything that I needed. Well, that's not entirely true. There's one place I went that it popped up as a comic shop when I searched for comic shops, but it was more of a, I don't want to say just antique shop, because there you kind of think of all kinds of antiques, but it was definitely, it was more pop culture stuff. They had like old toys and lunchboxes and cards and just a variety of pop culture and records and that sort of stuff. But they had some comics, and it was clear that they didn't know comics, because everything was priced, like, no joke, at least quadruple what it should have been. I started flipping through some stuff, and like, I went to Daredevil. Like, there's some stuff that I didn't even bother looking up on my phone. Like, do I need this one? Because I saw the prices, and I flipped through like 5 of them. Like, I'm not gonna waste my time. There's no point in wasting my time with this, because there's no way I'm buying any of this. The sad thing is, they had a Submariner #1 and an Iron Man #1. And I have a Submariner #1. I don't have an Iron Man #1. But they were both in excellent condition. I would have loved to have bought both of them, and have the Iron Man for myself, and the Submariner would have been an upgrade for me over what I currently have. So bought both of them, kept both of them, and then sold, or traded my current Submariner one. But they were, it was ludicrous what they had priced at, even to the point where it's like, I'm not even going to bother making an offer on it because the numbers are so far apart, like it's not possible. And it's clear that they just didn't know comics, right? They had comics that should have been $3 marked for $12, $15. Like, where do you even start? Where do you even start with that? So I was like, and they had some stuff behind the counter. I started flipping through them, like, you want to see the rest of it? Like, no, it's all right. There's no point. There's no point. And I didn't even mention it. Like, it's, you do you. I'll come back in a couple months, and I'm sure I'll still see it. Or you'll sell it, right? You'll sell it because someone will come in there not knowing comics, and they'll figure that this book that you have marked for $2,500 is actually worth $2,500 when it is not. And they'll buy it because they don't know. So we'll see. I actually, now that I think about it, I probably will go back there if I go in a couple months just to see if they're there. And if they do, then I might mention something like, look, I was here last time. These books are great. I'd like them. Let's talk about your comic book business practices because they need some work. But and you know, I don't think they were trying to rip people off or anything like that. I just think they don't know, right? A store like that, which doesn't specialize in any one thing, they have to do as good as they can with everything. And I talked to the owner, and I think was his wife. Very, very nice people. Chatted with them just generally, about what their business and all that, which again I love to do with those sorts of small businesses. Very, very nice people. I just think they just didn't know. And looking back on it, you kind of want to say something, not for my own benefit, to like, I want some of the stuff and I want to buy it from you, but it's overpriced, but more of like, I want to help you out. Like, you're not going to move this stuff. This is taking up space, and comics take up a lot of space. And you're either going to be sitting on it for a long time because it's overpriced, or you're going to sell it overpriced, and you are unknowingly like doing your customers a disservice by charging them this much for stuff. But you never know how they're going to take that, right? Are they going to be insulted by it because it's their business and they know what they're doing, or whatever? Or they think like, oh, you're just saying that because you're wanting to rip me off. You don't know. And I didn't really feel like getting into it at the time, because it was towards the beginning of my day. I had a lot of other shops to go to. So I'm like, you do you. Good luck. But if I make it back next time, I might swing by and see what's going on there, just out of curiosity. But that's it. Yeah, if you're ever in that Myrtle Beach area, I suggest checking out those three places: Coastal, House of Heroes, and Power Comics. I had a great experience at all of them. Things were reasonably priced, willing to work with you. So yeah, if you are in that area or going to that area, check those places out. I did the driving around all day to find the places that are kind of worth going. So there you go. But that's it. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on all this crap that I picked up. Yeah, of course, don't forget to make yours Titan. This video was brought to you by Titan Comic Pressing. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Titan Comic Pressing LLC.